Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Hump Day of the Uninformed Fan. We've had quite the day over here and quite the slate for you today. We're digging into Trevor Bauer. We're looking at the debacle that is the New York Giants. We're previewing ahead to the toilet bowl game of the Bears and the Commanders. Plus, tanking for Caleb Williams. Is it live? Is it not? Who knows? All this and more on the Uninformed Fan today. Jeffrey, how are we doing today? You look very sharp today.
Thanks, man. I'm, supporting my Orlando City boys. They're on a great run right now, and I need to get out to a game and support them, man, because they're playing great ball together. I feel like it's one of those years. There's like no big names, nothing going on, but they're playing together. Pereira's got them playing well. I love it. I got to get out to a game with Jeremy. Me and Jay got to go. But yeah, I mean everything's good. Hey, a little bit. I was telling you this in the pre-show. I took probably the worst fantasy football beating of my life. That I've ever experienced, being up 35 points going into Monday night. And I didn't even realize it until yesterday at 3 o'clock when JC texted me. I thought we won. I didn't even check. I didn't even look because I didn't think there was any way possible. We had DK Metcalf up 35 points going into Monday night. They had Seattle's defense. Or not DK Metcalf. We had Darren Waller going in. So against Seattle's defense, you would think Darren Waller most of the time is going to outscore Seattle's defense. Seattle's defense puts up 40 in that league. Darren Waller puts up 5. We end up losing by 0.6 points. That is a brutal loss. To go now 1-3 instead of 2-2, terrible.
That's a game. That is a game changer. 40 points from the defense. I'm just used to losing, so the fact of when I do sign in, I see that I've won one. It's more of a shocker than the other way around, which I did see that on our Trinity League that we actually got the dub there. That was a nice little surprise there. One thing I will say about that is the way that tight ends have been used this year. Outside of Travis Kelce, who's the stud tight end right now? There's nobody.
Nobody. Yeah,
absolutely nobody.
I think you either have Travis Kelce or you don't. Oh, I mean, Mark Andrews has been pretty good this year as well too.
Really?
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns last game from Lamar against Cleveland. But I agree with you completely, which is why I just made a trade actually in one of my leagues for Travis Kelce. The guy wanted Tua Tagovailoa. I'm going to stream quarterback the rest of the year and kind of try to play matchups and figure it out. It's going to be tough, but now when you put my team together and I have Bijan and Kamara and Kelce and Nakua and AJ Brown, Calvin Ridley, Christian Watson, it's a really solid team. So I felt like it was a good time to pull that trigger. And I feel like I'm buying a little low on Travis Kelce. I don't feel like I'm paying top end value of the market for him either. So I kind of like it.
Godspeed. Well, let's get into it. We got a packed show here today. We do have the boys back this week for a little Gap Wedge Wednesday later in the show. As we mentioned in the pre-show, we touched on Trevor Bauer. Now, if you guys don't remember Trevor Bauer, it was about 3 years ago that Trevor Bauer was accused of sexual assault by his then-girlfriend. I think her name is Lindsay. I don't know. Obviously, as soon as a woman accuses a man of this type of thing, the mainstream media, all of the sports stations were immediately calling for Trevor Bauer's head. He was removed from the Major League Baseball without any cause, just speculation. And, what had happened throughout it, listening to him, and I know that we're going to reference this. Well, actually, let's go back to that. So he finally put out a video on Twitter. If you haven't seen it, it's over a Bauer outage at X on X, formerly known as Twitter. Check it out. It kind of gives his side of the story where he wasn't able to talk about this for so long. And he reveals some of the text messages that was come out in Discovery. So basically what had happened is this girl had come to him numerous times for a settlement agreement. He said, no, I'm not settling. I didn't do anything. You're absolutely out of your mind. You're not doing this. I didn't settle. So then he filed the defamation lawsuit against her, to which she countersued him. And that's when all of the discovery was able to be made, which obviously on her side, she buried some text messages, things of that nature that the lawyers took a long time to dig up. We just came out yesterday, was it yesterday, the day before, that said that, basically all lawsuits have been dropped. Everybody's walking away, except for the girl. Somehow she got some type of $300,000 insurance payout. Jeremy, if you could maybe check on that. I need to check. Originally, he was suspended for 324 games, down to 185. Now, let me just say this right here. So this has finally come out that it looks like it was some type of a targeted incident, right? Now, of course, she is still saying that is not what happened. We've seen the video now fully of when she's laying in bed with him, supposedly after the beating and the choking. that did this. We saw some of the text messages that has come out from her to her girlfriend talking about she needs to get that $51 million, that Trevor Bauer will be her next victim. She did also come out and release a little video of her own defending herself, saying that these things were joking. She's a very sarcastic person. She likes to have fun. And this was this was going to be the next target of my attention, is what she meant into that nature.
Right.
I know that you have some things that you want to touch about this, and then we're gonna dive in real quickly to another aspect of this before we wrap it up that I feel like is the biggest problem in society. So I know you have a few thoughts on this as well.
I mean, I'm just very sad for Trevor Bauer. When you break down the storyline and the way that everything has gone, it really, like, when I watched it yesterday, I felt sick. This girl, she sends these text messages. She was running around in circles already with baseball players, that she was, promiscuity, whatever. Who cares?
Promiscuous girl.
Yeah, exactly. Like, live your life however you want to. However, when you do cross the line, when you do say to your friend, my next victim is going to be the Dodgers pitcher, and then you proceed to go about your business in terms of taking pictures of him while he's sleeping, putting out false narratives about him. The thing that really popped this off is that she got with somebody named Molly Knight, and Molly Knight is a reporter for The Athletic. And Molly Knight came out with this story and wrote this whole expose on it, and said that this girl had her skull fractured by Trevor Bauer. And that was one of the big things that stuck with everybody. And when you work for a reputable source like The Athletic or ESPN, or any of these places, and you put out a story, but
I understand what you're saying.
They are reputable spots. You know what I mean? Like, and you put out a story like this, and you're stating facts. Part of having an informed society and part of being able to make decisions in our life is about trusting the media. This is another aspect of something that we cannot trust the media on. She comes out, puts a story out without any proof whatsoever, runs it, and that was the gospel. That was it. Everybody just believed this story, believed what was said, and then it turns out that everything was an absolute fabrication and a lie. Meanwhile, this man, Trevor Bauer, suspended from Major League Baseball, one of the best pitchers in the game, coming into his prime, coming off of a heck of a year in Cincinnati. He goes over to LA, gets the bag, gets the contract. She got him to admit on the phone that he hit her, which was one of the rallying cries that she's had. But the context of the rest of the conversation is he says, yes, I did hit you, but you asked for it. It was in the moment and it was consensual. So I don't understand.
And it was on the text message. I need daddy to hit me.
Yeah. And so I just, it's a very sad moment, for all the pieces of shit out there who actually abuse women and verbally, emotionally, physically, because they're not fucking man enough. It just pisses me off that this lady decided to take advantage of this man. I couldn't imagine being Trevor Bauer for the past 2 years, bro. Me and TJ were talking about this last night. Could you imagine living in LA? You can't go out to a restaurant, man. Like, you can't go anywhere and as soon as you walk into that fucking room, everybody looks at you and is like, oh, wow.
Yep.
And in your heart of hearts that you're innocent. And the only way that they ended up getting this proof is by the counter lawsuit when he resued her, because then they were able to get all this stuff in discovery. Turns out her lawyers and their entire team had all this information the entire time.
Correct.
And they were suppressing it from them
because they were trying to get a settlement out of him.
Listen, Trevor Bauer needs to sue MLB. He needs to sue The Athletic. I would sue ESPN. I would sue every single person that I absolutely could. Take them for all the money that you absolutely can. This is egregious, and this chick needs to be put in jail.
Nothing's going to happen to her.
There's been some other videos of different stuff that, she was at a concert. I don't know if you saw that. That somebody released a video of her. It's in a very bad light of her. And even watching the interview that she did with the Stein guy, who is a little bit of a character in himself, but that interview is very telling in terms of, like, you're completely full of shit. I feel so bad for Trevor Bauer. I apologize to Trevor Bauer for the assumptions that I made without having the evidence. And then it's like, in this country now, right? Like, we just completely convict people based off of whatever is said on the internet.
Only one way.
Okay, yeah, for sure. If this was a story the other way, and this is the other reason you don't see this on any of the national media sites, because it's a black eye for a lot of stuff when it comes to that movement. And so They're not going to run it. You're not going to hear about it. You won't hear it on First Things First. You're not going to hear it on, Get Up. You're not going to hear it on Nick Wright, First Take, whatever it is. You're not going to hear about it. You know why? Because they don't want you to know about it.
That's right.
Their fucking agenda.
And that's why we're here. And, Trevor, if you ever do come across this, I know we tagged you on Twitter or whatever. If you ever do want to come on this, man, we'd love to have you on the show. I've said this from the beginning. Until there's evidence, we are innocent until proven guilty. But in this woke culture, right? And I say woke, and I use that term loosely because there are some things that are in this woke culture that should have been implemented a long time ago. Things that we probably could have not done in the past. But once that door opened, it just completely avalanched to everything. There is no more such thing as innocent until proven guilty. So, Trevor, I hope that you get some vindication on this. I know that you said you want to get back to playing baseball. Hopefully they open you back with open arms. But to your point, Jeffrey, I was very surprised that they dropped all of the lawsuits and just walked away. If I'm him, I'm taking her to the cleaners. But at the end of the day, you're also putting this information in front of a jury, and you still have to convince them that this was all a plot. And, when you get down that road, that's kind of tough to do, man. It's kind of tough to do, especially like when you looked at the video that we saw, there was people under there talking about, I'm going to go hug my daughter a little bit harder tonight. I can't believe that, women still have to go through this. And that to me is just the blind eye. If you can't see when you're viewing the world and viewing things in the wrong aspect, then I don't know what to tell you. But this is the last point I wanted to make about this as far as societal issues. And, I have another fantasy baseball chat that we were talking about in this quite a lot. And, there was some very strong opinions in there in regards to this. And I said, there's no way that a sports organization or a job should be able to suspend a player until charges have been brought. Now, keep in mind, Trevor Bauer was never charged. He was never charged with a crime here.
Not only was he never charged, but it was brought before judges, and they threw it out because they said that this chick is full of shit.
Correct. So even with that being said, they suspend him without pay. Right? They try to ban him for 2 seasons, whatever. Again, this is with nothing. So it brings up to the point, where do we have a social obligation here, right? So if something comes up, and, somebody brought up the Wander Franco, and my thing is said to say, until charges are brought, the man is innocent. I don't care what you think happened, unless there is an actual videotape of Ray Rice, right? Ray Rice, we all saw that. We all saw that, okay? And that's why you don't hear about Ray Rice anymore. But unless there is something that concrete evident, there is no way that a professional athlete or a business person or anybody at any work social function should lose their income, lose their livelihood over an allegation. And that's all that this was an allegation. And you know what? I agree with you. I think that he should sue everybody. Unfortunately, I don't think any of that's going to happen. You look at what happened with Colin Kaepernick. Now, he did get to come back and actually got paid from the NFL for being blackballed. But this isn't a blackball incident. I don't know. I think that this is going to be one. You might not see a team even give this guy a shot again. And that's just the reality of what's happening. You know what?
Be very sad.
It also, just defames. Or I don't know if it's defame is the right word. It also just, it knocks down the real victims, right? The like you said, the real women that go through this type of stuff diminishes. Thank you. It diminishes their aspect of the people that actually really do go through this. And when you look at her during that interview, and I'm not saying, I don't know, man. I'm looking at the evidence that's here, so I'm not going to say who's right or who's wrong. But at the end of the day, there was no charges, but yet we convicted a man in public opinion, and we sentenced him. Now, of course, he has a couple of M's in the bank anyway, so he survived. But that doesn't, we're talking about generational wealth that was lost here. Generational wealth. That was lost. So I just think that we need to take a step back in our social justice forum and, actually wait. And to your point about what you're talking about as a reputable sports, everyone just wants to get the story first, man. That's just what it is. Integralistic. God, Jeremy hit me again. Integrity in journalism, to my opinion, is absolutely dead.
You got there by yourself. You didn't need Jeremy.
Absolutely dead. There's an agenda with every single news outlet. And if you want to take ESPN, there's an absolute agenda there. There's an agenda with Fox. when Michael Bloomberg owns like 3 different channels, obviously his agenda is getting pushed. There's an agenda everywhere, guys. The days of watching Dan Rather back at like 9 or 10 o'clock do the evening news, unbiased in my opinion, are gone. And that's just the way it is. So hopefully everybody can get some peace out of this, move forward. Trevor, I sincerely hope that you get your life back. I know that this girl will be just fine. But again, Mr. Trevor Bauer, hats off to you, man, for sticking to your guns, never settling with this woman, and continuing to proclaim your innocence. And you have now just been vindicated by those, I guess you could say, vindicated by those that want to see your side of the story, because as we just saw on that Twitter feed, there's still thousands of people that think that you did it. Crazy. Well, let's get on to some good stuff here, right? Let's get on to some good Monday. Well, I don't know if this is really good or not. TJ, you joined at just the perfect time. And speaking of brutal, the New York Giants faced the Seattle Seahawks Monday Night Football, 24-3. And wow, the Giants. I said this to Jeff a little bit before the show. Who would have thought that the New York Jets, after Aaron Rodgers tearing his Achilles, would still be in a much better position than the New York Football Giants are? I watched Dable just lose his shit on the sidelines numerous times with Daniel Jones. I didn't see a whole lot that Daniel Jones could have done differently. Obviously, there's some bad things, but that man was running for his life every single time he got the ball. I mean, whew. There's some dark times over there, bro. There's some dark times in New York.
DJ. Listen, I don't know how you fix this until Andrew Thomas gets back or you get more O-line help. There's nothing that they can do on a quick fix. Now, you've seen what Miami does for the quick fix, right? Miami doesn't have a great line either. And especially when why am I blanking on the kid's name? The left tackle has been out, who's hurt. Teron Armstead, who's now going to be out for multiple games as well too. But they said he will be back at some point this year.
Don't take your frustrations out on the microphone, bro. It's going to be okay. I know that you didn't get the word right off the tip of your tongue. Just the mic didn't have anything to do with it. Let's just leave the mic alone. He's okay.
It's got to be like quick passes, quick hitters. I need to see Jalen High a little bit more involved. It's just I don't understand what they're doing right now. They seem to not have any continuity. I don't know if there's a lot to break down from this game except for the Giants stink. We're
the
talking
Seahawks didn't play a good game either. Let's be honest.
No, the Seahawks are they're fine. They're
mid-tier.
They're not what I thought they were going to be before the season started, which is much improved on defense and so on and so forth. They are not that. I thought this offense would be incredible with Jackson Smith and Nigba. I thought they had a chance to win that division. There's nobody beating the 49ers in that division. I don't care who you are. So that was a bad call by me. Listen, and when we talk about trends, right? What was the thing that we had from last week where, teams that score 3 points or less the previous week are 65, 42, and 4. Now, both those teams covered in terms of the Titans and the Commanders that we had. So now it goes to 67, 42, and 4 against the spread since 2015, 60% clip. When they are dogs the next week, they are now 46, 22, and 2. So you would look at it and say, all right, there's 2 teams that did that this past week. Let's transfer that over to here. One is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals, who we'll get to them eventually. The other one is going to be your New York Giants. Now, that line is going to be sitting right around 11 and a half right now.
It's got to get to 14 by game time. It's got to.
I'm going to say this. The New York Giants are in the 39% club. They are the ones that are not covering. I don't see a path to them here. Maybe with Saquon back, maybe you can mitigate it a little bit with screen
passes. But how? With that offensive line, Saquon's not going to be able to run the ball either.
And the Dolphins are coming off of a bad loss to the Bills in the divisional game, playing back at home, and the Giants can't stop anybody. So, I cannot, for the life of me, find a way to bet the New York Football Giants here. I think this line is probably too low at 11. I think it should be closer to 14, and it might close around that.
I think so. Yeah, TJ, we talked a little bit about Darren Waller in the pre-show here, and, tight ends in general. Now, we did say Mark Andrews had a good game last game, but the 2 games previous to that, he was not good at all. I think he had 5 and 8 points, respectively. But when we're talking about tight ends and tight end usages, it just doesn't seem like the tight ends are being utilized much. I mean, I had to go to the waiver wire to get a Cole Kmet off the waiver wire, who has double the amount of points of Kyle Pitts. In an absolute anemic offense of the Chicago Bears. Cole Kmet has more points than Kyle Pitts. He probably has more points than Darren Waller. I mean, it's just, I don't understand what's going on here. We went from a couple years where we saw the Mark Andrews, the Kittles. Obviously, Travis Kelce is just going to be Travis Kelce. I mean, that's an enigma. But, you know, even Pat Freiermuth, you know, some of those other guys at the tight ends that we saw him utilized a lot. It's just, I don't know what's happening. Like, to your point, the quick outs. Tight end, boom, check, turn around, boom, I'm here. Like, I don't know what we're doing here. But
yeah, it's weird.
It's definitely bad times in New York land.
And specifically with Waller, like, and I know Chad will get on to me about saying this, but like watching him,
he won't hear it. Don't worry about
it. The way that they used Waller in the preseason, in terms of lining him up wide, like they'd single him on a cornerback or a linebacker in man coverage. They'd run him all the way out to the side and just let him run a slant route. And like there's things that I saw that were super encouraging, and I loved Darren Waller this year. I was like, he's healthy, he's back. DJ can hit him. You know, DJ historically will throw to the tight end. Even when Evan Ingram was bouncing balls everywhere off of his hands, DJ was still getting him targets. So I thought there was definitely a path there. It has not come to fruition whatsoever. So
it has not. And you know I talked to you about DJ. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments as well. What are your thoughts on the Daboll thing, though, right? All right, so I watched him go over there. I watched him look at Daniel Jones and take the Microsoft Surface tablet and absolutely slam it to the ground right in front of him.
Yeah.
To me, that is not a look that I want to see out of my head coach.
Yeah, tough. I mean, listen, they've played 3 primetime games. I think the score is not going very well for them in those 3 primetime games. I don't have the exact score on me. I wish I did. But I think there's a little bit of separation there. How many points scored against the basically the score.
Well, week 1 was 40-0.
Correct.
Week 2 they won 31-28.
No. Primetime games.
I'm sorry.
Primetime games.
Well, Thursday they had 12 points. So
12 points.
Yeah, 12
and then 3.
San Francisco. Yeah.
So it's something like well, anyway. I was adding up all the points together, and it was
the three time here chimes in. The reporter asked Daboll, "What would you have liked DJ to do differently in that situation?" Daboll, not throw an interception.
Yeah, you can't do that on the goal line like that, especially on a bad read. Now, I know he's got new weapons. Paris Campbell might have run a different option route than he was supposed to, but still, like we can't do that. It's terrible.
I just think that Brian Daboll, I think the wheels are coming off.
I disagree. I think Daboll's an amazing coach.
I think he's an amazing coordinator. We'll see what happens. What?
How are you going to say he's an amazing coordinator when they played out of their minds last year, won a playoff game with Daniel Jones? What do you mean?
Well, it's the same. Is it not the same team?
A lot of injuries. And things are definitely tweaked a little bit.
When I see a coach getting that frustrated, right, and that targeted, okay, so to me that tells me that obviously, TJ said right there, he just walked away, tossed the iPad, Daboll handled it perfectly. So obviously he thinks that that's good. I love to see a coach with passion. However, at the same, like what we talked about, Zach Wilson, man, when you get shit on every single day. And then, you have to go out there and try to compete. Like, this is your guy, man. This is who you signed for $40 million a year. I don't know. It just seems to me like those two are not, they're not together. That's and that's what I'm talking about, the coaching aspect. I'm talking about, it just doesn't feel like these two are going to work it out, is what I'm trying to say.
Bold prediction, Brian Daboll will be there longer than Daniel Jones.
I don't know if that's too bold or not. Well, I don't know what's 3-time. What's Daniel Jones have on his contract guaranteed? Jay Swin also said that they lost 2 linemen on their attempted tush push. They injured their own players.
I sent that story out last night. You didn't see that? They lost their tight end Bellinger, and they lost their center as well too on the tush push.
God, what is 2023? We're tush pushing. The butt fumble was a little bit borderline. Now we have the tush push here.
Yeah,
Well,
hey.
it definitely was 4 years, 106. Oh, standby for guaranteed. I want to know the guaranteed money here. That's going to take them to move on.
I believe, from what I understand, they can get out of it after next year. So, like, he's locked in this year. He's locked in next year in terms of Daniel Jones. And then
I want to say he had something like 75 million guaranteed.
Something like that. But I mean, you're talking about
2 years would be 80 million
guaranteed. Yeah, it's not as much guaranteed as you would.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, moving on from one shit show to the other, we have a barn burner for Thursday night football here.
Yeah.
My Chicago 82 million guaranteed. So basically, as we just said, 40, 2 years you're out. Okay.
2 years you're out of it. So
it looks to me like that's a contract structure just for that, and to me, that is what it is.
Absolutely.
So maybe Dayball tank for Caleb Williams, right? TJ, you down to tank for Caleb Williams?
You know TJ's down to tank for.
So we got the monsters of the Midway going to the nation's capital to take on the Washington Commanders. 0-4 versus 2-2 here. It took a lot to handle to get on the show Monday and talk about the Chicago Bears. Obviously, I've had a lot of things, settle down in me a little bit here, and time to reflect, time to analyze. A bold prediction here is one. I told you that game ripped the soul out of me, which I'm sure it did for most of Chicago. But two, I have a little bit of tingly down there that says that this isn't a team that is complete shit. We're just about 80% shit. The Justin Fields to DJ Moore combo absolutely does look legit. I'm very excited and happy for Darnell Mooney to take over the Chase Claypool. I think that kid plays a pace that is awesome. We do have Tevin Jenkins coming back off the IR to add a little bit of offensive line help here. Khalil Herbert looked really good against the Commanders in the run game. And, of course, Roschon Johnson is an absolutely explosive back, and I look forward to seeing that. So the biggest question here we have, is Bears offensive line versus the front four of the Washington Commanders, right? This is what we're talking about. Is Justin Fields going to have time? Now, obviously, I am not a head coach in the National Football League. I know that everybody thinks I should be. I'm right there with you. Nobody has reached out yet. But if I am Matt Eberflus and Luke Getzey, I am designing all of my plays to get Justin Fields out of the pocket instantly. I'm putting extra tight ends on the edges to seal the edges from the pass rush, whether it's on the right, the left, and I am rolling him out every single time. I'm dragging Darnell Mooney across the middle for the slant routes. I'm sending DJ Moore on the go routes. Cole Kmet, again, sitting in the middle. I see a way to scheme against this Washington front four, because if you look at, what was it, the last game that we actually took them against? Do you remember what that was? We took
the last game that
it wasn't the Eagles. It was the Bills. Remember, we took the Bills. We thought that Washington line would be able to get to Josh Allen. Well, Josh Allen took care of that easily. He was very mobile. He got out of the pocket. He ran for the first downs. Chicago, that is your game plan to beat them. Now, the only problem that I have with the Bears and being able to contend in this game is the defense. But thank God we do have Sam Howell back in the backfield there, who has shown, obviously, he has rookie tendencies. He looks down his receivers. We can get a little couple turnovers there. We know he's turnover prone. 3 interceptions in one game. I think he actually had 4 in that game. So I'm the line here is at 6. I don't know. Obviously, this is not something I'm going to be betting on, but I would honestly say that 44.5 looks pretty juicy as well. Bears can't stop anybody.
Yeah.
Justin Fields' arm is heating up from a frozen tundra thaw. All right. As long as we have some good schemes here, guys, good schemes. Let's not let's not let Justin Fields turn his back to the O-line. Let's let him take him out of the shotgun, keep him faced it the entire way. I think that the Bears have a chance here. I know I'm a homer, and I just don't see enough out of the offense of the Washington Commanders to be able to continue to run over that Bears defense that is Swiss cheese.
They definitely have a chance. I mean, I will full disclosure. So I'm in a league where I was just offered. I have Tua, and I'm trading him for Travis Kelce, straight up. So, but that's going to leave me streaming quarterback the entire year, pretty much. So, looking at this week, trying to figure out who to go with, and I've landed on Sam Howell III.
I mean,
Against
it's a good
the
bet.
Bears defense, because I feel like this game will be a little bit of a shootout. Could be back and forth. I do see Justin Fields being able to get out of the pocket a little bit, and maybe opening up a little bit something to DJ Moore as well too. The Commanders do struggle with the deep ball, so if somehow Fields can get a little bit of time under him and be able to get the ball down the field, it'd be great. I do remember this game being on a Thursday night a few years ago, and me, you, and Ian being at the bar together watching it, and didn't.
Yes.
It ended on like the 1 yard line or
I
something
left.
like that. Or you ghosted. You were gone.
I fucking
and
left.
Obviously, you don't want to deal with Ian at certain points. But also, the other reason I picked up Sam on the third is because I'm playing Ian as well too. So I just felt like it was going to be.
No, that is good. Yeah.
It's like a double dip where it's like he's like you can't believe you're actually playing Sam on the third against people. Blah, blah, blah. So that should be a little bit fun. But yeah, listen, if history is any indication of what the future will bring, I think it's going to be a good game. I think it'll be a little back and forth as well too.
I think so too. If you also remember, this is when Ian sent out the text message that we had front row seats available for this game, and I jumped all over it. So Ian, if you are listening, I'm still ready to catch a flight tomorrow and head out to this game.
I think it was 2 years ago. He has to work. He didn't request off. He's a paper fan.
Oh, he's working on a Thursday night. Are you working?
No, I'm off.
Little uninformed fan on location.
Maybe.
We'll see. I know. We'll see. I'm sure that my phone will just probably be broken and won't receive any text or anything like that. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's not much to go for here. Obviously, the Bears are holding on. The Bears could actually have one of the most historic seasons in NFL history by continuing to play this bad. They could realistically have the 1 and 2 pick.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
I think it'll be a good game. I think we'll see what happens. Any other games you like or want to touch on? I do have some little nuggets about a lot of these right here. If you just want to go through like a rapid fire real quick.
Fire away.
While we kind of narrow it down.
We got about 10 minutes here. We got a few games. I am going to touch on the MLB postseason, even though Jeffrey is not really into the MLB postseason yet because, of course, the Atlanta Braves are not playing yet. So Jeff's not really there yet, but we're going to get him there. So let me ask you this. So
I got some Braves merch coming in as well too. So I got some new swag for the pod.
I couldn't order it from your boy Thomas memorabilia, huh?
I'm not buying a signed Ronald Acuna jersey.
I have regular. Unbelievable, guys. ThomasMemorabilia.com. Send us an email. Anything you guys are looking for. Apparel, hats, balls, baseballs, whatever you got. Just send it to we got you covered. So
also Fanatics.com. Get 30% off of any order of $75 or more with the code KICK. So that's what I use this year.
This is the shit I'm talking about. This is the shit just makes me want to dissolve whatever this friendship is. Is that right there?
All right, just kind of gonna run down the board real quick. Jacksonville, Buffalo. This game is obviously in England, 9:30 a.m. It's one of those early games. Going to be tough. Listen, Josh Allen. Fun little stat for you. 59 career wins. 45 of those have been by 7 points or more. So. Listen, Josh Allen wins. He usually wins big. This is a weird spot. They're coming off a huge game. It seems like everything that you say, you should absolutely take Jacksonville. I want the line to get to at least 6 before I pull the trigger on that, but I am still leaning the Jaguars in this one after being there for a week already. Texans, Falcons, I just feel like -2 Atlanta. This seems like a letdown game for Houston and for CJ Stroud. I like the Texans in this spot. Also, listen, Panthers, Lions. I think
wait. You just said that the Falcons game was a letdown for the Texans, but
correct.
You still like the Texans, even though you feel
no,
it's a letdown.
I like
game.
the Falcons. I like the Falcons.
Oh, you said you like the Texans. Just want to clarify.
I do like the Texans in general, but I just think this is a letdown game for Houston, and I definitely see Atlanta probably winning here, and I kind of like the number at -2 because I think a field goal is definitely in play here. So, yeah, I mean, I like Atlanta in this situation. I think their defense is much better than we have given them credit for. They have a great defensive line. The back end is pretty good as well, too. Give me Atlanta in this game and a bounce back as well. The Panthers Lions. This is an interesting one too. Detroit hasn't been favored by a touchdown or more in 5 years. So 9.5, they're not used to that. It feels like it should be a letdown game for Detroit, but then how do you take Carolina? There's no way you can do it. You can't bet on Bryce Young. Frank Reich is like the biggest putz of a play call I've ever seen in my life. He's so conservative. It drives me absolutely nuts. Just kind of is what it is.
Let me ask you a question here with the Atlanta Falcons defense that you said is pretty legit.
I think they are good. I think they've just found some bad spots so far.
Okay. How many points per game would you consider a good defense to give up?
I mean, usually I want my defense to be right around 17 per game. I think Atlanta is probably closer to 22, 23 right now. Just guessing.
Week 1, they held the Panthers to 10. Week 2 versus the Packers was 24. Lions was 20. Jags was 23. I agree that like everything I keep hearing about this Falcons defense, but I've actually watched a few games going through. I just haven't seen it. I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe it's just me.
I think they played some good offenses too. I mean, if you look at who they've actually played, they played legitimate teams. They've had a tough schedule to kind of start the year as well. So this just seems like a bounce back at home. Houston coming off the big win. They're hearing about it all week. The public's going to pump Houston money in. So yeah, listen, you can probably wait till game time to get a better number. I love the Falcons -2 here though. If you want to grab it, go ahead and grab it.
TJ, real quick here. TJ was asking about the Patriots game here, and the Patriots. We talked about this a little bit. Can they get smoked 2 weeks in a row? They absolutely can get smoked because just across the waiver wire on the hot, we had some breaking news here. News on the uninformed fan.
Jeremy, what I saw that chirp come out. What was it that just happened with the Patriots?
Patriots will be without their 2 best defensive players. Of course, Matthew Judon has a torn bicep tendon, probably going to miss 2 to 3 months. But the big news is that cornerback Christian Gonzalez is likely to miss the rest of the 2023 season with a torn labrum from a dislocated shoulder on Sunday. Sources say surgery is soon. That comes from Ian Rappaport a little over an hour ago.
Yeah. Patriots.
Hour ago. How are we just now getting it now? Unbelievable. Step it up 3 times. Come on, bro.
Hey, Jeremy, thank you so much for putting the time in. I appreciate that.
Come on, bro.
For being there with the breaking news. Thank you so much, man.
So, yes, to answer that question with the backup from the 3 times, the Pats absolutely can get smoked at home again. But I definitely would not take them in Survivor. As somebody who took, I don't know if you guys saw last week, there was 2 people that took the Bears. Those were both me. That was a rough way to take a loss on both teams.
That's a tough one, especially on a +3.5. But you know, what are you gonna do? I just think you probably stay away from this game. The over/under at 40 looks like it's probably gonna be good. But at the same time, like the Saints just got embarrassed at home by the Bucs. Embarrassed. I mean, we mollywopped them and we committed 11 penalties. So we were undisciplined and they never had a chance in the entire game. Olave 1 catch, Kamara 13 catches for 33 yards. Their offensive system is broken right now with Pete Carmichael. However, I mean, I don't know. Do you trust Mac Jones? I don't know. To me, this is just a stay away game. I have no clue. I would maybe, like I said, maybe take the under here. But I do kind of lean New Orleans just with a better roster, better defense, in my opinion, in this spot.
Give me one more game that you're targeting here.
So, listen, we talked about the teams that scored 3 points or less the week before going in. And now you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, who the line opened up at -6. It's been brought down to -3. This is a super overreaction from us seeing the Cardinals play and then also us coming off of this Titans game against the Bengals. I absolutely love this spot for Cincinnati. I think -3 is fine. I would not take them in Survivor. That is not going to be my Survivor pick. I think you take the Dolphins because the rest of the way it's going to be very touch and go. For Miami, they have a tough schedule at the very end of the year as well, too. So I do like them here. I think you pass on Cincinnati, wait for Burrow, maybe hit a bye week, get a little bit more healthy on that calf, have them look a little bit better. We always know how they look terrible in the first 6 games of the year. They turn it on at the very end, but I think this is a great game for them as well, too. Also, one fun little note I want to say about Baltimore and Pittsburgh, which is a crazy stat, actually. This game, in terms of the underdog, is always so. The underdog in the Ravens Pitt series is 22-5-3. The underdog has covered 11 straight games, and it is 15-1-1 since 2015. When it's 3 or more since 2005, it's 21-3-3. Now, listen, all these stats don't factor in the fact that Pittsburgh's defense is absolutely atrocious. However, there is some magic. Mike, I feel like, has a chance back at home to get it done. You're giving me a 3-point dog in a divisional game in the NFC North, or I'm sorry, the AFC North. I will. We might get to Pittsburgh by the end of the week. We'll see what happens.
Which with Mitchie Trubisky at the helm,
with your boy at the helm. So
I love it,
yeah,
love it.
I feel like that might be a play, and we'll be in the minority, and everybody's going to be on Baltimore. This is going to be a huge. I saw a stat, like, the public is usually terrible in terms of betting, and this year I think they're actually hitting at like almost a 56% clip against the boards. So you would say that there will be regression back to the mean. So this will probably be a big public fade week for us here on the Uninformed Fan.
I'll tell you, the one game that I'm circling is the New York Jets taking on the Denver Broncos. Now, the Broncos are favored by 2 points here. Now, when I look at this on paper and I see the progress that Zach Wilson had last game, I think that there's absolutely no way that the Jets don't win this game outright. But as we know, when it comes to teams traveling and going into higher elevation, there's sometimes a little bit of a problem with the team coming straight out of the gate in Denver. This is a game that I'm definitely going to be looking at, going to be analyzing a little bit. To me, on paper, this just seems there's no way that the Jets lose to this Broncos team. There's no way. Chicago just, they just shit the bed. If you follow the game plan from the first half that Chicago did, they just absolutely obliterated them. Then, they're geniuses. They decide to go ahead, let's change the whole scheme for the second half, and they get blown out. The Jets defense is obviously way better than the Chicago Bears defense. There's no way. I'm going to have to wait a little bit. I'm going to see, make sure there's no key injuries, make sure that there's nothing funky on here. But that line to me just stands out as funky cold Medina. There's no way the Denver Broncos, being the second worst team in the NFL, should be favored against the New York Jets. No shot.
So, and listen, we're wearing purple today. I will say, this Chiefs Vikings over to me. Just go ahead and lock it up right now. Minnesota Vikings have allowed the 6th highest completion percentage in NFL history so far through 4 games. Now, the Denver Broncos have allowed the highest completion percentage in NFL history so far through 4 games. So as bad as Minnesota has been, Denver has been worse, almost 6 times worse at a historic level. So yeah, I love this over in the Chiefs-Vikings game. I think Patty Mahomes goes crazy on this. I've comboed them in my daily with Travis Kelce and kind of filling the spots around him. This Broncos-Jets game, though, I do agree. This is a huge moment for Zach Wilson, going back to the Mountain West, being able to kind of be back in familiar landing territory as he was for college. Listen, I know BYU and Colorado are not the same place. I understand that completely. I'm just talking about the environment that he's back into. I thought the way that the Jets reacted to Zach Wilson in that loss was fantastic. He's going to have Aaron Rodgers with him again. Rodgers traveling with the team the entire rest of the year, will not leave them. So, yeah.
The stats are actually saying that Denver is the play here. I don't know. I don't agree with it. I love it when I buck the trend. I absolutely love it. Love it.
We'll dive farther into it, and we'll see if that's one of the 5 that we think that we need to put on the board.
Absolutely. Well, before we get the boys in real quick, we did start the MLB postseason. We had a few good games going on. We had a few shit games, and one of the shit games was the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, I talked to my father a little bit beforehand, before these games started, and he actually broke down to me why he might not be an Illinois fan anymore, being that he might change his allegiance from the Chicago Cubs, from the Chicago Bears to a Florida team, as he's now been down here for about 15 years. And he said, I'm going to root for the Tampa Bay Rays, and look what happens. They put up a goose egg. He immediately called me afterwards and goes, well, I guess I put my jinx on that as well. The Tampa Bay Rays 4-0 here. Tyler Glasnow a little bit rough off the mound. However, the play behind him was absolutely comical. Many errors, a lot of just balls bouncing the wrong way. We'll see if the Rays can get it back. I do believe we said this was a best of 3, right? So it's 1-2. So
First to two.
We do have a little bit of problems here. Thursday 3:00 game, there was absolutely nobody in these stands. It's just abysmal, man. The Rays deserve better. I did have a friend that was there at the game, and I said that. He goes, Thursday to 3:00, and I go, dude, that just tells me that you don't know any sports outside of Tampa, because Minnesota, who had a 4:30, I do believe they are on Central Time, that place was absolutely jacked up, ready to go. And if you would have told me that would have been a 1:00 game in Wrigley Field, there would still be 15,000 people standing outside just trying to be around the atmosphere. They deserve better. The Rays deserve better. You're going to build a new stadium. I don't think it's going to change. We'll see what happens. We'll go on from there. Speaking of the Minnesota Twins, they do get it done. Carlos Correa had some amazing defensive plays here. Taking down your Blue Jays 3-1. I do believe, I don't know the guy's name off the rip, but there was a guy, Jay, maybe you could bring this up here, that had actually been out hurt for almost the entire season. God, what was his name? And he came in and hit back-to-back home runs. He actually put up all 3 of the Minnesota Twins runs. And that is, it looks like Lewis. Yeah. Royce Lewis. I wish we had a little bit of info on here. Jay, if you could find the info on that. Like I said, dude, I mean, one day ago, we're talking about Twins. Royce Lewis is actually included in the Twins wild card roster. I mean, that's how far out this dude was. Comes back. I think it was like his first game in 3 months, I think I heard them say. Comes back and just jacks back-to-back bombs. Put ups all of the 3 runs. Minnesota's going absolutely nuts there. Great win from them. We'll see if the Blue Jays can get it back. The Brewers. Yeah. Go ahead. Did you want to talk about that one?
I was going to first say, I mean, so the Rays game, they commit 5 errors, lots of walks. I mean, it was sloppy. It was terrible. Tickets are as low as $27 right now. There's no excuse for you not to get out there in St. Pete. Pull your kids out of school. Give them an experience, like take them to a playoff game. I mean, I don't know. I hate it. Listen, line today, you got Eovaldi and Eflin, minus 140 Tampa. I don't know. I think this might be the end of the line for the Rays. Now
the golden run.
Yeah, I think it's over. No, the Rays are going to be fine. They're going to be a competitor every single year. They have an amazing farm system. They just called up this I forget the kid that came in last night or yesterday, ended up striking out. But Blue Jays Twins, I do think Minnesota will bounce back today. Barrios back on the mound going against Sonny Gray for Minnesota. I can't believe Sonny Gray is still pitching. TJ, do you remember when we used to bet Sonny Gray, like back when he first broke into baseball?
I can't remember when you made fun of me for actually having Barry on our roster for fantasy baseball.
I made fun of you for what?
The starting pitcher that you just announced. We had him.
I didn't.
You dropped him.
I dropped him, but I probably dropped him for somebody decent.
Anyway, that Royce Lewis, he was out for 3 months with a hamstring issue. First game back, belts 2 home runs. Congratulations. Going back to Milwaukee, Arizona, the rookies just come to shine. Corbin Carroll taking care 6-3. It was an amazing, amazing feat. I don't care if they're the NL Central. I absolutely hate the Brewers almost as much as I hate the Cardinals. To watch the Diamondbacks hit back-to-back home runs to take the lead, absolutely clutch. Finish them out, put them in the ground. I'm over it. Anything on that one?
$13 you can buy tickets right now if you want to get out there in Milwaukee and support your team.
Yeah, they don't. And the other Florida team, right? So we had 2 Florida teams make it. They both get donked. The Marlins to go down to the Phillies. So we'll see what happens again in that one. Yeah, Sonny Green's been pitching for 30 years.
Tickets as low as $227 in Philly. So a little bit more of a discrepancy there.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to happen. So we'll see what happens over there. Well, it is that time. We are fresh off the Ryder Cup. The beatdown has been complete. We're back to some PGA action. Let's bring in the boys. Paulie Parputch, Country Club Chad. How are we doing today, boys? Welcome back.
Hey, Tyson, what's going on, man?
Just another day in paradise, my friend. Just another day in paradise.
His dog peed in his bed today.
Oh, living the dream.
Are we
sure it was his dog?
Positive.
Okay, just making sure.
Jesus Christ.
I wear diapers, if that's what you're asking.
Oh, yeah, I mean that's the best protection for
boxers
that.
Boxers or briefs? Depends. Welcome in, boys. Pleasure to have you today. Listen, any thoughts? I said to Chad the other night, hey, do you want to come on and say anything about Ryder Cup? And he goes, no. So I will turn to you, Paul. Do you have any thoughts about Ryder Cup, the way that it finished, the way that it played out? Disappointment, heartbreak, any of it?
Tying a bow on the whole thing. I think the United States either has to decide they want to be a team that can win in Europe or just keep doing what they do every 2 years. It's the way the European team gels, the way they play for what seems to be a bigger cause than an individual golfer or their individual things. You didn't hear one story about an individual Rory trying to, bar fight in the parking lot at the end of the day. Joey LaCava. causing a stir.
It's always the
You know,
little
at
guys.
at least it made it interesting.
Yeah.
But just watching, I watched every televised shot of the first session, and I stopped after maybe the third hole of the second session, just knowing it was over. Yeah, so making the Ryder Cup team seems to be the goal for players on the USA Ryder Cup team. And they have so much individual success. And the fact that there are guys on the team talking about, well, I need to get paid, even if that's a thing, is ridiculous, because there are guys on Europe who would pay to be on the team. It feels like, you know what I mean? So
Because everyone loves to beat the United States. That's just what
it's you're not wrong. So it's a lot like, we can compare it to college football a little bit. You know, it's a conference game. You know, this team has no shot of making a bowl, but the big bully comes into town, and every one of those kids gets up for this game, and it's their Super Bowl. And if they only win one game all year, and it's against the team that's going to win the conference, then so be it. Yeah. So it's what motivates you. And I think Luke Donald did an amazing job, and the leadership of the European team did an amazing job of unifying and motivating and everything else. And, you know, the United States seemed like, we're happy to be here. I think the one comment that drives me crazy is the talk about, well, you know, if the United States had taken live golfers, Europe didn't take a single live golfer, and they dominated. So there wasn't one live golfer on the European team, and they dominated. If you think that the golfers on the United States team that would have come from live are better than what was put out there, so be it. Justin Thomas wasn't a problem for the United States. It was a collection of things, and his strokes gained numbers, unfortunately, were hitched to his BFF's strokes gained numbers, and it's tough to score when you are in 4 inches of rough and behind a tree off of every tee.
Dude, so last thing I want to ask you here, as we put a bow in the Ryder Cup and move on, is, you know, this is one thing that me and Jeffrey had a nice little conversation about. What are your thoughts on Ricky Fowler giving the putt to seal the deal?
I think that if Ricky had made his putt and that putt was to tie, then I think it's different. But Ricky gives Tommy the putt.
I'm just saying, though, like, you just gave the cup away. Like, regardless if it's 3.5 feet, and it's a professional. Obviously, we know 95% win rate, but we've also all been there before when there's a big putt on the line. I still go flashbacks to my college. I had like a 4-foot putt. I missed that putt by 3 feet to the left with the biggest yip. Now, granted, I'm not a professional athlete. I understand that, but to me, and I think Jeff agrees, you just got to make the guy make the guy.
Well, then I'll ask that, and I think that's going to be a I don't think it was consequential.
No, I don't think so either. Absolutely not.
It's the one that made the decision.
Correct.
So let's take it away. How do you feel about Jordan Spieth making Shane Lowry putt in an inconsequential match? That it was already decided.
I didn't see it, so
Lowry misses the putt and they have the match. So now it was strictly for Ryder Cup record.
Yeah.
Either that or the fact that Shane Lowry like galloped around the green.
Shane Lowry is one of the people I actually enjoy watching on the PGA, but he was absolutely obnoxious out there. running around all around. So I think that was probably just a more reflection on his attitude for the whole week. Like, fuck you, pay me. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm going to make you make everything just because of that. But that's the fire that the Americans are missing. There's not one guy that's out there that's like, fuck you, Europe. I'm here to beat your ass. Now, that guy came out and said, I'm here to beat your ass. I'm going to put you into the ground. I'm going to get all of my crowd fired up to rattle you guys. That's what you want to see out of a world event. It's a world event. It's us versus the world. And I just feel like our guys are just like, whatever, man. I'm just going to get back and try to get back to my FedEx Cup points.
I don't know. I kind of disagree. I feel like we definitely have those guys on that team. I just don't think the moment ever presented itself for them to be able to react like that because of the way that it started off, because of how bad Jordan played to start as well, too. The guys who fire you up, and a Justin Thomas, there was not that opportunity to kind of get there.
It's tough to pound your chest and go rah, rah, rah when you're down 4.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, they fielded a mid-tier team. I mean, you guys said it from the beginning. Nobody expected these guys to win, right? So I would assume that, they thought the same thing.
Yeah, and I real quick, just my last thought. My problem comes with Zach Johnson. And we can talk about the Ricky Fowler, conceding the putt. My problem is that Ricky pulls driver on that hole. You're one down, you're on 16, do what everybody else did, hit it in the bunker on the left. You have a good sand game, get it up there next to the hole, make birdie, and keep it moving. Have the hole, get past 16, and keep it going. The only thing you cannot do is blade a driver right into the water. And so to me, that's a lack of having somebody there to be able to edit that a little bit in terms of maybe your coach. And I thought Zach Johnson wasn't it.
That's a huge disagree, because he switched Jordan's from a driver to a 3-wood, and Jordan put it in the water. So having a coach tell you which club to hit or what to do doesn't necessarily, it's not indicative of performance.
Do you think, though, that if he told him the situation and what was going on, that maybe Ricky plays that hole a little bit differently?
Ricky's playing that match to win.
Yeah,
he's not playing the match not to top,
as somebody that's definitely played
in
in some high event, the links match play events, things of that nature, in team events, college, whatever you want to say. I don't give a fuck about what's going on, to be perfectly honest with you. With the rest of you, I'm playing my game. I'm playing the person. I'm playing the person that I'm standing next to. I'm not playing the whole. You can shake your head all you want, bro, but I'm telling you, this is the mentality that you have going into it. I need to win. I need to win my match. I need to beat the guy that had. Now, if I have a 1-up lead or a 2-up lead, and it's this hole, then yes, I might even hit an iron off of it just to get out there the fairway, and I'm trying to make pars in order to make him make birdies to beat me. But in this day, to your point, you're one down, 2 holes to go. You got to it's a drivable green. Heath flew it over the green, I believe, as well. He hit driver after Ricky was in the water. That's the play that I thought was kind of a little crazy. But yeah, I think when you get into that, Jeff, and especially like what they're talking about, when a coach gets in your ear,
in the bunker,
and how many times have we played together, and I'm like, I'm not putting the driver, I'm going to hit an iron off the tee, right? I'm going to do it. And then, donk, it goes right dead into the woods. It's just one of those things, just second guessing. I don't know, whatever. No. I think we can all agree it was just a pretty poor performance.
Moving on, we are on to the Sanderson Farms Championship. By the way, Chad, how are you doing? It's good to have you here today. I appreciate you joining us.
I'm doing well. And I said I didn't want to talk about Ryder Cup because what happened is exactly what we said was going to happen. And what you do need is a bunch of dogs like Max Homa, because that's a guy right there that just wants to be a champion no matter what he does.
I would go into a foxhole with Max Homa.
Yes,
absolutely.
Me too.
Like
a bunch of those other guys, hell no.
Yeah,
he looks like he's in a duck blind on the weekends. You might have a chance.
Did you see this too? So Cantley got married the day after the Ryder Cup, right?
Y'all saw what I sent, right?
I mean, that's not a distraction.
The no forehead, the no white forehead.
Yeah, like you're not showing. Yeah, you're not showing up with a hat line. Yeah, I mean,
he took care of that, didn't he?
Wild move by him. I don't know. That guy he's a little off. Anyway, all right, we are on to the Sanderson Farms Championship. Chad, what do you call this tournament?
The Chicken Cluck Fest, I think, or whatever.
I think you call it something like that, the Chicken Cluck Fest. Listen, it looks like we have a pretty good field. Paul, what are we looking at in terms of setup on the course?
So we have a fun field. It's not a good field.
Yeah, it's
It's a wide open field. It's a great week for betting.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there are not. We don't have, I think, one of the top 20 in the world here.
Well, at least we have a Ryder Cup champion here.
That's because that's Carson Young, not Cam Young. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
we'll keep C Young moving. All right, what are we looking at? Sanderson Farms Championship.
Country Club of Jackson, Jackson, Mississippi. It is 74.61, so a little on the longer side. Par 72 and Bermuda greens. So greens are a little big. That's pretty good size, 6,200 square feet. So scoreable. Chad and I were debating whether it's a birdie fest or not. If it is, it's low end birdie fest, and that's fine. You're not going to see 30 under, but 20 under is for sure.
They average like 18 to 22 under is the winning score. So
yeah, Mackenzie Hughes won here last year. Pretty good purse as well, 8.2 million. Man, these tournaments
compared to what
continue to rise compared to the Butterfield Bermuda Championship and
sure.
Hero World Challenge and the Grant Thornton Invitational.
Yeah. Okay.
and the Fortinet. I don't know. I don't know. 8.2. It feels like a pretty good purse size. Chad, what are we looking at? What's the algorithm have for us this week in terms of, we looking at bombers, we looking at putters? What do we kind of got going on this week?
Well, when we were researching it, we came across that it's pretty much any kind of golfer could win at this course. Driving accuracy, it wasn't a big thing. When Cameron Champ won his Saturday and Sunday, I believe he had 33% driving accuracy one day and 42% the other day. But his greens and regulation were still over 60% for both days. So the rough's not very penal, or if you're a bomber and you can just hit a wedge, you can still hit the greens easy here. It's mainly about being on the right tier of the green, because like Paul said, they're decent size, so they're gonna be bigger. So approach with proximities will be big, and getting a hot putter. So you want some guys that can definitely putt on Bermuda, that are more accustomed to it. And we found some guys that are going to be pretty good plays that we feel like that are good proximity guys that can putt on Bermuda.
Perfect. What kind of Chad mentioned we got some little diamonds in the rough, some golden nuggets over here. Paul, what are we looking at?
We can start down a little deeper if we want. Just to touch on the Cam Championship. So over the last 117 rounds that he's played, he's lost almost a stroke putting. In the week that he won at Sanderson Farms, he gained 9.1 strokes putting. So this is a place where some guys who traditionally don't putt well can get hot, but the majority of the guys who have won it are decent putters at least, and then putt well because they're putting the ball closer. Again, scoreable course, places that we can get some guys. But again, we're not talking about a loaded field. We have a lot of quote unquote no names. I mean, if you've been following us or doing any golf research with us over the course of the last 6-8 months, whatever we've been doing this, you probably heard some names that we're going to mention. So a little deeper, I know there's one guy that Chad really likes, so I will avoid mentioning him. But you're looking again at the I want to say Jason Duffner. Jason Duffner is 6,500 on DraftKings. He's going to pop in some models. He's played fairly well recently, but he's played fairly well recently on Thursdays. If you have first round leader markets available to you, it might not be bad to throw a couple dollars on Jason Duffner there. I would avoid him for the week as far as heavy investment, top of the board kind of deal. But if you're filling out 10 DraftKings lineups, maybe throw him at the bottom of one. Another guy that I saw down at the bottom, and now we readjusted the model. Kevin Roy.
Yeah, your namesake. I was wondering.
Kevin Roy is a problem as far as short game. So his putting is not terribly good, and his work inside of 30 yards, not great, especially on Bermuda. But his proximity around that range is DT 6,600. So guys around that range, you're not going to find a ton if you're really trying to jam them in. Cody Gribble has won here. He's 6,400. One guy I will mention that is going to be definitely on our card, who maybe hasn't played crazy good recently, but has won here and finished runner-up, and that's Peter Malnati. He's a guy we like here, lower on the cost on DraftKings, and you're going to get some good prices on him for, say, T20 bets, things like that. If you can get a T40, I like that a ton. But Malnati's a guy who just played pretty well at the Fortinet, and then I'll let Chad get into his longer range, and then we'll talk about the middle and top of the board.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, going back to Paul mentioned Cody Gribble. He's one of 7 guys. The reason why he's able to win here is he's one of 7 guys that is in the top 20 in both proximity numbers that we're looking at, 100 to 125 and 125 to 150. And he is number 8 in our model in putting on Bermuda. So that's when he's doing what he normally does, it makes it a lot easier for him to win here. And that's why 2016 he did win here. Another guy that I am going to the well on.
Twin.
At a long... What?
Your twin?
No. We're not going there. But we're going to go with our good buddy Frank Burgo, his twin, Satoshi Kodaira.
Okay.
He plays well. He's another one of the guys that is top 20 in both proximities. He doesn't putt very well on Bermuda, but I feel like he can do good enough. Comp courses, he's very good. He's won at Wyndham, I believe. It was either Wyndham or no, RBC is what it was. Mm-hmm. But similar type courses, and he shot 30 or he finished 30th at Fortinet last time out. So he's decent for him, and if he can put things together, I mean, we're talking about a guy that's 150, 200 to 1. So, you know, like Paul was talking about, top 20, top 40 bet. Good for DK lineup. Mm-hmm. That's about.
And yeah, you're just kind of looking for these guys to make cuts too. You know what I mean? Like if you can get your whole roster to make the weekend, then you're looking pretty good. And right now I'm on FanDuel just kind of filling this out, and I got Kodaira, Malnati, and Gribble. And my last 3 golfers, I can still afford over 12K on each. So
yeah, that's what I did.
It's like a solid start to kind of start as a base for you. I love that.
Yeah, when we started doing this, I put in Malnati and Kodaira together, and then I was still able to get Jaeger and Cole, who are 2 guys that are 20 to 1, and still put a decent lineup together with guys I like still. So being able to find someone that low that can give you good value is key to being able to get the big names in there if you like the big names to win. So
right. Well, speaking of bigger names, we took care of our long shots. Paul, what are we looking at kind of middle to top of the pack of guys who we think have a really good shot of competing this week?
Chad just mentioned 2 guys' names at the top, Eric Cole, Steven Jaeger. So I think both of those guys will end up on the card. In the middle, we've got Sam Ryder, Stetson University Hatter. Been playing well lately, and he is right there at the top of our model, and only 8,500 on DraftKings. So if you're looking for a middle guy to fill in after those Jaeger and Cole, he's a good one. One of the Wu brothers is Dylan. He is 7,600. And then Bo Hostler. I don't like saying Bo Hostler.
It's painful. It's painful to say this big baby's name, but
I don't like it. Baby Huey, big visor. He is. I don't know what that Sunday interview is going to be like. Bo, if you're listening, I'm sorry, buddy, but he fits them up. He's a name that popped early. Started doing research Monday, and he was up at the top. And then every time we switched out, one stat for the other, kind of fine tuned, he stayed right there in the top. Let's see on the final model. He's number 10. Yeah, he's 10. So I don't love it, and he's a little shorter than I'd ever expect him to be, but he's probably going to miss the cut.
But in a field like this, though,
no,
I'm willing to throw out Bo Hostler and take the hit if he doesn't play well. But it seems like he might.
This is one of those like Pauly Par putts where he like puts his name on something and then the guy apps. Remember we had like a 5-week run of that.
Remember the JT when he said JT is the, and then I think that was the start of the JT downfall. Actually,
you were the reason for the spiral, Paul.
I'll take full credit.
Chad,
I mean, I guess
like
Bo Hostler has a top. Bo Hostler does have a top 10 at this course, so we can. I don't know if we can confidently say it.
Interesting too, like a guy who's won here before, who we haven't mentioned, Mackenzie Hughes, right?
Yeah, I don't like where he's at right now. Like he's not anywhere. He's 36th on our model right now.
And listen, that's important because people see that.
Exactly.
And automatically just throw Mackenzie Hughes in because he won here before. But the fact that you guys have the data on how he's running right now literally is what separates you from everybody else.
The only thing he's doing it in the top 30 of this field, which is not a good field, is proximity 100 to 125. That's the only thing he's doing in the top 30. So
he's a pretty good putter. Traditionally, he's been putting okay lately, but his last handful of finishes, the best one that I'm looking at so the Byron Nelson, which was in May, he finished 14th. Since then, his best has been 30th, and he has more miscuts than not.
Wow, yeah.
So Fortinet was 52, St. Jude was 58, Wyndham was miscut, and Wyndham's a comp course. 3M Open 30th, the Scottish Open miscut, U.S. Open 49. That's a tough event. Can't really hate him there. RBC Canadian Open miscut, Memorial miscut,
and it's Canadian
miscut.
He's not like a Cam Champ that just comes out of nowhere and wins either. He has to be making cuts and playing weekends before he wins.
He finished top 25 at Fortinet last year before he won the Sanderson Farms.
Yeah.
Significantly better.
He's not a guy that just comes out and plays well one weekend and screws everyone over.
All right. Well, who do you like here, Chad? Top of the board.
I'm with Paul on Yeager and Cole. Both of them are definitely going to be on my card. I love Sam Ryder. He's one of those guys that fits the mold of the proximities and the putting. He's another one that's top 20 in both of those proximities. Third in approach, number 1 in ball striking, I believe Paul said to me earlier. Strokes gained total on easy courses, he's 13th. Strokes gained putting, Bermuda, he's 6th. And he gets birdies, which clearly you need on this course. I think my heavy play this week is going to be Sam Ryder. And then Alex Smalley is another guy. He's from North Carolina, used to the southeast, hot weather, humid. He's 4th strokes gained total in easy courses like this, and he's another guy that fits the proximity 125 to 150, or both proximities, I'm sorry. So I'll be on him. And then going a little deeper, I like Callum Tarrant. He played here last year, played pretty well. I think he was 13th, if I'm not mistaken. And Dylan Wu also. Me and Paul are pretty much on the same guys this week. So, we're just getting them out there. And hopefully you guys can win some money on them. One guy you might want to look, a couple guys, or someone popped in our model for some reason. I don't know really what he's been doing lately. Is Alex Noren though? I don't really know what his number is going to be because he's 7,800 on DraftKings, and I really don't know where his game's at. I had to look more into that. And a guy that might be a horse for a course that might be coming around is Hayden Buckley. I saw that he did have 2 top 20s the last 2 years he played there. So that was 22 and 21. So he might be an up and coming horse for a course there, but I don't know if I can trust him right now.
Heard that. Well, listen, they give you everything. They give you the world. All you have to do is just bet it. You know.
Last two guys, Jeff,
bet
if I could, last two guys I want to mention.
Please.
Is if you're looking up at the top, I'm not sure what matchups are going to look like. Doug Gim is at the top of our model. I'm not sure we'll get to the number with him, but he might be something that we dabble in as far as he's 4 in our model. So maybe somewhere in matchups or, single day matchups, things like that. And then the one guy we didn't talk about really at all, we mentioned his name once, but Ludwig Bear, who formerly known as Ludwig Agberg.
Yeah.
So he's the favorite in the field. I'm going to say that has to do 2 things. He's probably the best player in the field worldwide.
He's a Ryder Cup champion, sir.
As far as
treat
that
him with
goes,
respect.
And the prominence of the broadcast, him being with Vic all week. You saw a lot of him. All they did was talk about how great he's going to be. I think that put a little lead in his number. 12-1 is what I'm seeing. If you can find an alternate line, if he's going to win, he'll probably win by 3. And if he's not going to win, then he's probably going to finish somewhere in like the 15 to 25 range. He's probably too good to miss the cut, but I just don't know if coming off like Chad said, coming off the Ryder Cup, the emotional high, it's got to be exhausting. He's young, great shape by all
He probably
stretches. I mean, he doesn't look like Bo Hostler. You know what I'm saying?
God.
But
you can't pull fat.
Yeah, amen.
Actually, you can. I think I did.
But that would be my thing. If you can get someone who maybe is getting a little juice,
you could actually probably get Jaeger or Cole.
Yeah. I'm gonna say they're probably gonna put a couple guys that are Jaeger, Cole, Gim.
You might, if you get plus money, I would say it's probably a good bet on those 2.
Yeah,
and a matchup against him. Heads up,
I think. And again, if he's gonna win, I don't think it's gonna be very, very close. And we'll probably know after day 1. He's either going to go out and shoot 7 under, or he's going to be right around 3. So we'll see.
All right. Hey, Chad, listen, I'm going to give you one last thing. I know we're running way over here, but I did want to give you the floor. It's a big game this Saturday.
Yeah.
Talk about Oklahoma and Texas. First of all, why is it never a night game? I don't understand.
Because it's at the Texas State Fair.
Yeah,
Red River rivalry.
Yeah, but like at a night, like this game should be played at night, not at 12:00 in the afternoon.
It's never been. It's always been.
I know.
You just can't do that, Jeffrey, because Americans cannot control their alcohol intake for a night game for something this big.
Yeah,
that's true. It
feels like it might be
Florida, Georgia at 7:30 at night instead of 3:00 in the afternoon.
That's why they don't. It was out there at one point in time in life, and people were passing out and dying in the parking lot of alcohol poisoning before the game even got close.
Jacksonville's Duval County, right?
Duval.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the arrest rate at Duval County would be way too high if they were 7:30. Same thing with Dallas or Fort Worth.
Do you have
too high.
Any predictions on the game here, sir? We all know you're a big Texas fan. Obviously, Oklahoma's pretty good this year.
I'm not going to predict anything because when I do that, things go bad.
Okay.
I do feel confident though. I feel like our defense is a lot better than it has been.
I agree.
In a long time. And last year it might have been a fluke, but we did shut them out for the first time, and I don't even know how long. And that's probably the worst beatdown that we put on them, maybe ever. But they might be mad. They should be. I feel like we're better this year than we were last year. Obviously, I mean, we did beat Alabama. We know Alabama's down this year, but that was a big thing for us. It gave us confidence. And I feel like if we're playing our A or B game, that we have the talent to beat them. We just got to make sure we stay away from the stupid stuff, penalties, turnovers, and if we do that, I think we have a real good shot. I don't know about covering the 7 because it's a rivalry game, So
6.5, down to 6.5.
Oh, okay then. So
I kind of like it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like if it was at
I'd like
7,
for it to be. I'd like for it to be nice, easy, win by about 11. Make it to where one score bullshit's not gonna fuck my day. I got a wedding that day at 4 also, so my wife will be driving to that while I'm watching it on the phone.
Who puts a wedding during football season? I mean, that's just.
And the worst thing about this wedding? The guy is also a Texas fan. He's literally been to this game. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Do you not check the schedule for this shit?
Chad, he had a say in it, bro. Come on.
Oh, he did. You know what I did? My wife wanted to have a wedding in January. I said, this is the one Sunday or Saturday you can do it because it's Pro Bowl weekend. It's not Super Bowl. It's not the playoffs.
Weekend. Oh, okay. That's why you went. All right. I was going to say.
So there, you do have a say if you're a man.
Okay. Okay.
You can ask Paul. He was there.
I was there.
Good for you. Good for
I was
you.
there. I probably wouldn't have been if it was either Super Bowl or like
I wouldn't
conference
have been.
championships. I didn't. That was still the heyday. I was flipping a coin whether the Patriots were going to make the AFC Championship.
Oh, all right. Well, we're way over. Boys, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for always imparting knowledge on us. We look forward to talking to you next week and bringing it all down again.
Good luck,
All right.
everybody.
Enjoy your
Go
weekend.
Horns.
GG's, boys. GG's.
Go boys.
Hook 'em.
Hook 'em and we them.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. I had to get that in there.
GG's,
All right, boys.
GG's.
Later. All right. Tyson left.
Did you miss me?
It's just me. It's just me now. Here we are.
Did you miss me?
Just-
That full screen. Yeah. So that's gonna do it, I think, for us today on a Wednesday. Long show here, almost 12:30. We'll be back on Friday. Yes, that's the day. We're gonna recap the Monday or Thursday night football games. We'll also give our Friday preview into the NFL. Circa picks will come out on Saturday. As always, we'll tell you where we're leaning, but not where we're going, as well as the mortal locks of the day. We'll be back out on Sunday.
I'm gonna put my mortal lock out right now. It's gonna be the over in the Chiefs and Vikings game.
Okay, there's Jeff's lock right there. Whatever it is, that's what it is. Everybody, have a great day. Enjoy the day. We'll see you back here on Friday. Peace out. Stay out of the left-hand lane.